Alright, what's up, everyone? This is Sam, aka Wakeman, aka Wake. Uh, and today I'm here to finally, after all this time, now that my Gen 8 leagues are pretty much completely over, um, I am finally bringing you the Cinderace Manifesto. Um, Pretty much what my goal here is today is I just want to talk to everyone about this Mon. Obviously, many of you will already know I have a pretty good track record with this Mon. I've never gotten, in using it in 4 leagues, the worst I've ever gotten was semifinals, and then I also got my first league championship with this Mon. So I think I'm pretty a pretty credible source on this Mon, and so I just wanted to talk to people about it, why I like it so much, why it's become such a comfort pick for me, and kind of analyze. I'm hoping to kind of analyze its place in the Gen 8 meta before we move over to Scarlet Violet for our draft leagues. So I already mentioned some of this, but so these are my 4 seasons of usage. Um, VBA season 2 was the first, and then I used it in non-max. So I also have I've used it in a variety of formats, mostly max, but I did, I was a semifinalist with it in a non-max league, so I definitely have some experience there as well. And I had very different comps in all of those given leagues, so I have used Cinderace in many different niches and to cover many different roles. Um, so, for those of you who don't know, the idea behind Cinderace is its stats. It's got a good speed tier, a good attack stat. Bulk is not great, but especially in a Dynamax format, it is usable. Um, I'd say probably the role I've used it in the most is as an early game max option. I think it's a super good mon on lead, given the right matchup, obviously, as all mons are. But I think it's a really good mon on lead. It just exerts a lot of early pressure. Um, Many teams will require their own speed control to sufficiently handle it, and you can use that to your advantage. Um, Now, obviously, the bread and butter um, with Cinderace is its ability Libero, which essentially means it becomes uh, whatever type is the type that its attack is. That made no sense. It becomes the type of the attack it uses. There we go. um, so it can become all of these types: Fire, Steel, Fighting, Flying, Dark, Psychic, Bug, Poison, Normal. Um, and it gets physical coverage for all of those. I have used probably I've used most of these moves. I don't know if I've ever run Max Strike, like Facade or Double Edge. I've considered Facade, but I haven't actually done it. Other than that, other than like Fire Punch and Double Kick, I've pretty much run all of these. Um, so as you can see here, this is insane coverage. The types that it doesn't hit super effectively are shown here. Granted, these are some very prominent typings. It is unfortunate that it can't hit these, but the fact that it can hit every single typing super effective except for 5 with stab is ridiculous. There's no other mon that can say that. As far as I'm aware, there might be some one-off stab combo that I'm not thinking of. Well, anyway, so it also gets special coverage. So it gets Electro Ball, Shadow Ball, and Scorching Sands. I have run all 3 of these. I've run Scorching Sands twice. I've run Electro Ball and Shadow Ball, I think once each. I think I actually ran the 3 of them on the same set, in the non-max format. But so now, I mean, really, you're only not hitting Ground and Dragon, because Electric allows you to hit Water and Flying, and then Ground allows you to hit Electric. So it's super good, and it's usable. It's like I said, it's only got 65 special attacks, so it's definitely not the best. But it is usable, especially with a life orb or a specs or a boosting item. It's viable in certain matchups. So it also gets a really potent support move pool. It's not super deep, but the moves it gets are very good. Particularly, I've run Snarl, Coat Change, and Coaching a lot. Um, Probably more so than the others, but Faint is one I actually never ran. I kind of realized I got it late in the season for my non-max league I played it in, and I just never used it. I have run Super Fang once or twice. Taunt, I think I've run Taunt. Never run Growl. It even has like speed control options with Low Sweep and Mudshot. I've never used those personally, and it does have Funny Move. So here's a quick little analysis of its speed. So you can see Cinderace there at the bottom, and all of the mons in like a standard Gen 8 draft, non-restricted draft that outspeed it. So it you must be base 63 speed or higher to outspeed it with a scarf. So that's nice. At +1 via Airstream or Scarf, it will outspeed max speed Regieleki, and it will outspeed +2 mons, so mons that have +2 speed, that are base 76 and lower. So think many Weather Sweepers, think Ludicolo, think Unburden, Slurpuff, and Sucker Punch allows you to hit mons like Dragapult and Spectrier really hard, that do outspeed you. Even things like Naganadel, Boltund, Alakazam, Inteleon, like a lot of the mons that are faster than it aren't loving to take sucker punches. So it's at a really good spot in the meta in terms of its speed tier. And once you get an Airstream boost, which is one of the main things you're wanting to do in a max format, in my opinion, you pretty much outspeed everything. It's very hard for them to like speed creep your +1 mon without boosts of their own. So here's its so pretty much its place in the meta. It's kind of like I said before, like it sucker punches mons that are faster than it, so you can see down at the bottom. Can handle Dragapult and Spectre, but on top of that, it pretty much kills all redirectors. Like Clefable, Clefairy, like all the fairy types get killed by a Steel Spike. Fireball KOs pretty much all of the pretty much. I think you could probably live it with an Eviolite Tangela. Probably not Fungus, but I would have to check that. And then you have options to KO Indeedee and Airstream for Volcarona. So unless I'm missing something, I'm pretty sure that's all of the redirectors. I mean, I guess Butterfree, but Butterfree also gets killed. All the Rage Powder users it just die. So that's really good. It alleviates a lot of lead pressure when you can just kill their redirector, or force them into a berry. Either way, I had experience running this mon against Glastrier. Don't think Metagross was drafted. Glastrier, Steela twice, and Rillaboom in GLDL Season 2 where I won. And it handled them so well. It was amazing. It has the damage output and speed tier to handle Goltrace. It doesn't hit it super effectively, but it can beat it 1v1, especially if you're firing off max fireballs. Sucker Punch, like I said, can handle Dragapult and Spectrier. And so now we get to the Gigantamax form. So it replaces Max Flare, which would normally set Sun, with Gmax Fireball. So it's guaranteed 160 base power. No matter the base move, it will always be 160. It ignores abilities. This one I haven't, like, the ability to ignore other abilities hasn't been something I have been able to take advantage of a whole lot. The base power alone is enough reason to run it, I think, in a lot of matchups. I'm trying to think. Like I've run it against Mimikyu to break through Disguise with like a coaching boost or a helping hand. You're pretty much guaranteed to OHKO or a Sun boost. But I'm trying to think. I mean, I guess they would hit Flash Fire Mons, but they would still resist. So yeah, on a fire type move, it's probably not like the most useful thing, but it's still nice. There's still definitely some niche scenarios where you can make it work. Yeah, I really can't think of anything right now. Um, so it doesn't override weather, which means it can fit with other like weather strategies. So like if you were running this thing on a sand team or a hail team, you could max it and not worry about overriding weather, which is nice. And if you do have the choice, as some of my leagues have, I didn't have the choice in VBA season 2, but I did in GLDL season 2 and UDL season 3. Um, Being able to alternate is super nice. Um, you can set Sun for a partner, like a chlorophyll user, or you can reset your opponent's weather to stop their rain mode or whatever from going off. So it can be useful. The giving up the base power is, in my experience, sometimes very very worth it to be able to change weather. So now I have some example sets. Some of these are real simple, but I just want to show you. I just want to illustrate the versatility that Cinderace is capable of. And so obviously, again, this is over. I counted it up. I believe it's 85 games played with it, 94 kills, 47 deaths. So I have used this thing. It's for probably more than most. I can't imagine there's many people who've used it as much as me. But this is the most common set I've ever brought. Um, 3 moves, protect, and usually life orb, expert belt, or white herb. That's pretty much like the standard. Like it says here, it's very very consistent. I really like having protect. It's really rare that I max a Cinderace set without protect. There's some corner cases where I have, but it's not very common. I almost always run protect if I'm planning it to max, because one of the number one things Cinderace doesn't like is random scarfers. So like a scarf Urshifu could surging strikes it before it can change types. If you catch wind of that, you can max guard. I guess Urshifu's not the best example because you can't protect, but you get my point. With Life Orb, Gmax Fireball is OHKOing like most non-Dynamax mons that don't resist it. It's insanely strong. Insanely strong. So yeah, that's kind of the baseline. And this is the most expected set. Like when people are prepping for Cinderace, obviously there are other things that people are going to be running to deal with Cinderace, but this is like nobody's going to be surprised to see this set, I guess. So this was a support set I ran. Because of its speed tier, you can run coaching on it pretty reliably, and then you also don't have to run Scarf on it all the time. Some Mons are good coaching users, but are kind of locked into Scarf to get it off consistently. Um, Court change is insane. It's situational, and it depends on the matchup. But in the right matchup, it's insanely good. I'm trying to remember. I brought it in VBA against a team with Grimmsnarl, who always brought screens, Aurora Veil, Ninetales, and Tailwind Crobat. And I just court changed in the late game, and I just won off of it. Like, it was so free. Um, and then I also brought it into a Lapras team that also had a consistent Tailwind setter that I am forgetting what it was now. But I brought it for that too. Pyro Ball is really good. It's really strong, base 120, with its only drawback being a 10% chance to miss. Sometimes if you're not maxing, I prefer to run Flare Blitz, but obviously with a Sash, that's not an option. If I recall right, this set was very good. I think I coached a Luxray up with this set. into like a Lapras Goltrace team. It was super good. I definitely think that this is an underutilized set, but it kind of takes the right team to run a set like this. So this one I called the Schmixer. It's a similar set, but this time it has 3 attacks and coaching. And so this is one I brought in GLDL Season 2. I led it next to Braviary. Um, so you have options there. You can coach. You can click coaching with Cinderace and max Braviary and start clicking Airstreams. Um, and then you have the Defiant to cover for Intimidate leads as well, because that is a very potent option against Cinderace teams. And then you just max Braviary. You might get a boost. You are boosting both your Mon's speeds. You're spamming coaching. It was very good. I think I 4-0'd with that lead. Um, and then game 2, I clicked Tailwind with Braviary, protected Cinderace, and then maxed Cinderace, and it was still like super viable. And then this set was also the way I had this set flowcharted was the other team had a mini rain mode, and I wanted to be able to bring Venusaur in. I don't know if I ended up bringing Venu to the game, but well, I guess I 4-0'd, so it wouldn't have seen the field anyway. Or I 8-0'd, so it never hit the field. But again, and then also coaching becomes max guard, so it's almost it's almost like completely dually functioning. I mean, you don't get an item if you're maxing. Like Sash isn't the ideal for a max Cinderace, but it's still really good. And this was a super good set when I brought it. So this is the Snarler. This is probably my second favorite set I've ever brought. The EVs might not be optimized, but the situation here was I brought it in playoffs of VBA. This was a non-max format. I was able to spam Snarl into this team that had Ninetales, Indeedee, Slowking, a couple other special attackers. He really was like, it was almost all special attackers. So I had Flare Blitz, and he had Ninetales, right? So I was able to like Flare Blitz into Indeedee and just like kill things with Sun boosted Flare Blitzes, or just spam Snarl and tank hits and be like pretty much virtually unkillable. It was really like it was a super good set. Like I say here, it was almost unkillable, but also like constantly threatened a high amount of damage. Like he had some steel weaknesses. He had a lot of mons that just didn't want to take hits from a sun boosted Flare Blitz. And then I ran Super Fang to chunk down mons like Slowking. This was as you can see here, it was definitely a real matchup specific bring, but it was super super good. It basically won me the set hands down. So next up is the Scarfer. This is this I used in a max format. This is a set I ran this in finals, and I think this, if I had to narrow down to one set that won me the set, it would be this. That won me the finals, it would be this Mon. So he had Unburdened Slurpuff and Swift Swim Ludicolo both. He didn't bring Ludicolo to finals, but I would have been able to outspeed it. What ended up mattering most was I was Scarf on Cinderace so I could outspeed Unburdened Slurpuff. Even if Slurpuff was max speed, timid nature, with the Unburdened boost, I was outspeeding, which allowed me just such good flow charting. Like I could U-turn and set Sun, and then I could U-turn it into Ninetales, and then use the U-turn damage plus a Sludge Bomb from Venu, which now outsped everything in Sun, to kill something. I did that against Tapu Lele. Game 1, I switched its partner into Berserker to get an Iron Head with the Steely Spirit boost and kill Slurpuff. It was super, super good. I could Snarl. I had options, and the flowcharting was just insane with this Mon. I ran Flare Blitz, so I didn't miss. This was not a set I expected to have a ton of longevity, so taking recoil was really like not the biggest deal. And it wasn't a bad Dynamax option. I did lose game one where I Dynamaxed it. And it's I still can't say whether or not that was the right play or not. But I mean, with fire coverage and steel coverage, like into the team he had, it was great. So this is another example of a really really solid set you can run with it. So this is the Scorcher. This one's not that special, but mixed sets with Life Orb I think are very viable. This team I was going against had almost no special attackers, so I was pretty confidently able to run a minus Spadef Nature. I was able to turn into a ground type to take hits from Pincurchin, and he had 6 ground weaknesses, multiple of which took hits very poorly on the special side. Think like Gigalith, Pincurchin. My brain is forgetting, but you get the picture. And then you can still just max it, and with Life Orb, like I'm hitting like a truck with Airstreams and Steel Spikes. I think I only clicked Scorching Sands once, but it killed a Pincurchin and won me the game, so it was good. Just don't write this set off, I guess, is my point. So this is a pure special set. I ran this in a non-max format. This is a very, very matchup dependent set. I want to be clear about that. I don't recommend you bring this super often. I have literally only really been able to run a set like this once. I've ran that mixed set previously once, and I've ran this set once. That's it. I don't recommend it super consistently, but the team I was going against had a very, very consistent Intimidate Cycler. I think it was Torracat, and I didn't have many ways to kill Torracat. He could calc to live hits from Azumarill, which was my water type, at -1. The team I had, and he could kill Bisharp, which was my Defiant user. So it was real rough. I had a bad matchup into it, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna bring the special set game 1, win or lose. I think it's gonna convince him to not bring it games 2 and 3. I can switch to another mode and win, and I think that's what happened. He also had Slowbro, which this was pretty much my only way to kill it, which was super super cool. And then also just becoming these typings. Like I don't think many people expect their Nidoqueen to get hit super effectively by Cinderace, but it did. So those are some other cool sets I've run. Just the real simple stuff. Band, anti-weather, with Sunny Day. Consistent Intimidate means you get free acrobatics and non-max. That also won me a set before. These aren't, I mean, the point I'm just trying to illustrate is you have options, and many people I think tend to think that it's a very one-dimensional mon, but it really, really isn't. So you'd think, right? 4 seasons. What was it? 85 games. You think I would like have used everything, right? But I haven't like even come close. Like, and I'm not gonna act like some of these definitely have varying degrees of viability. I think the better things on here, I think a scarf low sweep set with coaching and something else could be a really viable option. I think Max Strike is also very viable, as well as Facade. Counter's probably pretty situational. Feint in a non-max format would be super good. Fire Pledge could work. Quick Attack is kind of a meme, but same with Focus Energy. But Weakness Policy, I actually have seen that used in other places, and I do think that with like a weak Aqua Jet user next to it, I think that's a really like real set you can run. And then it does get Ally Switch. I don't run Ally Switch. It's like often. It's not because I've like sworn it off or I think it's like morally reprehensible to use it, but it's just because I just don't like to use it, and I never feel like it's a worthwhile usage of my turn. But that is very much an option. So then this is a lot shorter than I expected actually, but so these are the 4 teams I ran it with. and pretty much, um, I think like I just want to illustrate like the different things that Cinderace could use to really shine. So the first team I drafted with it was this one on the left here, which was VBA Season 2. I had a Redirector, I had a Tailwind Setter in Braviary, I had an Intimidate Mon to mitigate its frailness. Good lord. I had Spectrier, which was not only a very complementary max option to it, it could also max and spam max Phantasms while Cinderace picked things off. I also had Intimidate Deterrent, and I had a Prankster Mon. Like, these are all like huge boxes to check off on a Cinderace team. My Trick Room matchup was a little suspect. I did have an Imprison user in Gardevoir, um, but then my VBA Season 3 team, which was the non-max one, the one with Avalog on top, I had Bisharp to deter Intimidate, I had Noivern to set Tailwind, I had multiple fake out users, which are just good in that format. But then I had a really, really good Trick Room mode of Reuniclus, Drampa, Avalug, and then some stuff like Azu and Crustle that could function under TR or Tailwind, and Thwacky too, kind of. That team was a little Intimidate weak still, because a lot of Intimidators kill Bisharp. But it was still like that team felt great to pilot. Then my championship team, the season 2 of GLDL, this third one here, I had the Sun mode, which like Ninetales could Howl next to Cinderace. It could obviously set Sun, so it was already boosting its damage. Like a Howl boosted, Sun boosted, Max Fireball, like just kills everything. Like it OHKO'd a Max Mesprit in semifinals, like that. It was just crazy, insanely good. So Ninetales was a super great support piece next to it. Obviously, again, Braviary Cinderace is becoming one of my favorite combos. I had a decent like light Trick Room mode of like Aromatisse, throw Berserker. Berserker could boost it with Steely Spirit boosts. Manectric I picked up late in the season for playoffs to redirect Prankster Thunderwaves. Purloin, similar thing to Lipard. Rotom and Venu complemented it so nicely. It was just insane how like I could bring two of those things and pretty much hit everything. It was super good. And yeah, I mean Aromatisse on this team was more of a TR deterrent than like a I'm setting TR and I'm gonna sweep you thing. But it was super good. I really liked having it. And then my UDL team, which was a much higher power level, this team doesn't possess as many of the like the benchmarks like an Intimidate Deterrent and all that. It has like I have a Scarf Coaching Mon for it in Lucario. I have Persian to support it. I have Primarina, which complements it really nicely. Torn Cinderace was so good. Like you just beat all weather modes pretty much guaranteed. It's so good. Really good lead there. But yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. I kind of like. There's probably more I could say, but I think it's stuff that most people have heard from me already, and I don't want to go on forever. Plus my throat's kind of sore. I think I'm getting sick again. But yeah, thanks everybody for watching. To everyone who have everyone I played in Gen 8, everyone who was part of the leagues I was part of. Thanks for making this a great gen. This was super fun. If you have any like questions or comments or criticisms or whatever about my analysis here, feel free to like put it in the comments or DM me on Discord or whatever. You know where to find me. But yeah, thanks for watching everybody, and I'll be coming at you soon. I should be posting this at about the same time as I post Sandbox Finals. GG's again to Hunter on that. I'll be posting a Sandbox team and season review and format review probably next week, and then maybe this weekend if I'm not too busy. And then within the next week or two, I'm going to be doing a huge video project. It's going to be pretty much analyzing everything I've ever done in Gen 8 draft and just talking about like what worked, what didn't, what did I learn, how much better have I gotten, analyzing those kind of things. So I'm super excited for that one. I've already started on the slides and data for it. I'm going to have a lot of numbers. But yeah, that being said, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time.